welcome to Quays News. I'm Sabrina Ephraim.
And I'm Hannah Frew. Coming up on today's programme. We've all been hit by train strikes recently.
Police have named 35-year-old Abdul Azadi as a suspect of a chemical attack in Clapham that left a mother and toddler with injuries that could be life-changing. The attack happened on Wednesday evening, which left 12 people injured. Police are saying to not approach the suspect and are appealing for any evidence that may help them with their investigation.
Manchester Council has plans for a multi-million-pound redevelopment of Manchester's Piccadilly Gardens. Work has already begun, and it is hoped that the transformation will increase natural light running through the gardens, making the area more attractive and reducing crime and antisocial behaviour.
As of today, it is now a criminal offence to own an XL bully in England and Wales without an exemption certificate. The deadline for dog owners to apply for these certificates was yesterday. Around 40,000 of the large bulldog type American breed are believed to have been registered, but there may be thousands more without certificates. The owners of those dogs could be facing criminal persecution.
We've all been hit by train strikes recently.
Train and rail strikes will impact commuters in February and March, as both ASELF and RMT union members will strike over pay.
The strikes will affect the services of 17 rail companies, including Avanti West Coast and TransPennine Express. People are already feeling the effects here at Piccadilly Station.
This will no doubt cause huge disruptions across the country. This is what the people of Manchester had to say.
I think it just needs to stop. I think the rail companies need to pay the rail staff what they actually deserve. It's been going on for far too long. They've admitted that it's cost them more in cancellations than it would have been to pay them a fair wage anyway. So I think they just need to get up off the laurels and do something about it. I think the rail workers are bang on. Even though it's disruptive, they're doing the right thing.
It's getting to the point whereby, it's getting a bit bad now. I mean, at first it was fine, there was a bit of support behind it, but now it's gone a lot more prolonged. It's not for the benefit of anyone.
The motorway, the M60, was more congested yesterday than what it was, only because there's more people on the road. So yeah, it's affected me in that kind of way, but not directly as a train.
In some places there will be no services at all, but on strike days, services that are running will start later and finish much earlier.
Go.
Now over to Manchester City Centre. Our reporter Emma Nelson is at the Night and Day Cafe after a long battle with the council to keep the venue open after noise complaints. It's set to come to a close within the next 2 weeks.
I'm outside Night and Day Cafe in Northern Quarter in Manchester, which is a very popular place for locals to go on a night out. For over a year now, there have been a row with Manchester City Council over a noise complaint made in November 2021 from someone living in a local flat who said they could hear noise for hours and hours on end to the early morning. This venue is very, very popular and it's hosted bands such as Wet Leg, Elbow and Arctic Monkeys. They have had a 3-day hearing this past week and it was thought that a resolution was made yesterday, but yet we still don't know what it's going to be. At the end of the 3-day hearing, Barrister Sarah Clover, representing the cafe, argued the council's noise abatement notice should be squashed. Mrs Clover said council officers had claimed an acceptable level of noise was found, but not recorded. The flat which made the complaint has been vacant since May 2022, and no one has complained prior to this complaint in November 2021 and after. So the question is, why is it still getting brought up to this day? The council has been accused of declaring war on its nighttime economy by threatening to persecute Night and Day to the Supreme Court. And Ms Clover says the threat of the council to take Night and Day to the Supreme Court is noted. She said, what we've just heard is a declaration of war by this council, not just on Night and Day, but for the whole nighttime economy. And at such a desperate time for this industry, it's a tragedy. Now, although we've expected to hear the resolution of this row yesterday, it is now looking like it's going to be another 2 weeks till we find out what the answer to all this may be.
And now for sport.
Thanks, Hannah. Lewis Hamilton is set to go to Ferrari for the 2025 F1 season. With Leclerc just signing a multi-year deal, where does this leave the smooth operator Carlos Sainz Jr.? Erik ten Hag has ended the Marcus Rashford fiasco after he missed another training session following a night out in Belfast. Rashford is understood to have been fined around £650,000, equating to roughly 2 weeks' wages. However, Ten Hag has confirmed that the issue has since been resolved, with Rashford taking responsibility for his actions and he's back in training.
Responsibility, and for the rest it's internal matter. Case closed.
How's his reaction been though around the training ground, and because he's in the squad against Wolves, I presume?
But as I said, case closed.
The Salford Red Devils have signed a new deal with the Trafford Centre. Yesterday, they held their pre-season media day. So I caught up with the team's halfback, Chris Atkin.
As now Salford are gambling. They're going to run it to Lafay. Here now on the far side, it's Burgess!
The roar of the crowd, the passion of the players, and the thrill of scoring. The 2024 Rugby League season is about to commence. With challenges lurking ahead, the Salford Red Devils are desperate to get their hands on the cup. But first, they must get through their pre-season media day. With the transfer window closed and the team low on numbers, the Devils are relying on loans to bulk up their squad.
I think with probably us at Salford is the size of the squad. Every year we've got, I think, 24, maybe 25 players this season. So, you know, going into a season with that number of players, it's going to be tough. We've got to be fortunate with injuries and things like that. And I know people will come in through the year as we'll need them to, and we have done the previous years. But managing the squad, and obviously we've got a good physio and S&C staff that do look after us. So that's probably going to be the biggest challenge, is managing those injuries and keeping everyone fit and on the field for the games.
Chris Atkins signed a 2-year contract with the Devils back in May and is training for the team's first league game of the year against Leeds.
It's going to be a tough weekend going to Headingley on a Friday night. The crowd are going to be on top here. We're probably not going to get many decisions our way. The crowd will be really behind Leeds, and we've got a couple of former players now that are over there. So, you know, Leeds again, they'll be looking to bounce back the next season. That finishing the top 6 will be their aim as well. So it should be a tough and entertaining first round.
After a day of photos, TikToks and games, the Devils are eager to start the season on a high, with their first league game away in February against the Leeds Rhinos.
For our entertainment. After 3 weeks of backstabbing and plotting, the winner of The Traitor was finally revealed. Harry Clark, one of the original traitors, took home the £95,000 prize money after he successfully deceived the final faithful, Molly Pearce. The show's second series has been proven to be extremely successful, with the final episode gaining a huge 5.8 million viewers. Alison Hammond has been named as the new presenter of the beloved ITV show For the Love of Dogs, following the passing of the previous host, Paul O'Grady, back in March 2023. Hammond will follow the animals at Battersea Dogs and Cats Home in their search for a new home. Hammond has said, "I am very aware that I can never replace the iconic Paul in this wonderful series, however says it will be an absolute privilege to give it her all." The show's 6 episodes have already been filmed and will begin airing in a few months. It has been just over a week since the Oscar nominations were announced, and Barbie star Margot Robbie has finally spoken out on her snub for Best Actress. She's expressed that she is not sad over it, saying the mission of their movie was to affect culture, and that is the biggest reward to come from the film's success. Overall, the movie received 8 nominations, including Best Picture, Best Supporting Actor and Best Supporting Actress. And finally, Harry Styles turns 30 today. His career started on X Factor back when he was only 16, and he has spent his 20s becoming one of the world's most beloved pop stars. It'll be exciting to see what he does throughout his 30s. Happy February!
The end of January marks the end of Dry January, the month where thousands ditch the drink to save their money and livers after a busy Christmas period.
Our reporter Luke Pons took to the streets of Media City to find out how Dry January affects the community.
Finally, after what felt like an eternity for most people, January has ended. And with the end of January comes the end of the national event, Dry January. Dry January is a public health campaign that encourages people to quit alcohol for the entire month of January, according to a survey conducted by the British Beer and Pub Association. A record 1 in 5 drinkers gave up alcohol for Dry January in 2024. More than 100,000 people downloaded the Try Dry app from Alcohol Change UK to track their progress and financial benefits. The average amount saved by those who participated in Dry January was £118. I'm here at the Seven Brothers Beer House right at the heart of Media City, where later on this place will be flocked full of people celebrating Dry January and maybe just, their general day-to-day. Let's go inside and speak to the owners as to how the business has been impacted or even prospered during the time of Dry January.
January is always quite a month, I think, for all bars in general across the whole sector. What we tend to do during January is we put January deals on, so we do 50% off food, 2-for-1 cocktails, stuff like that, but we are partnered with some low alcohol companies, so that really helps for Dry January. Really, we tend to find that people during January, a lot of people still drink. I think Dry January is a bit of a myth. A lot of people tend to still just carry on the way they are, but the people that do, we still make good profit on non-alc. February can also be quiet, but we're still going to keep alcohol frees on. We're going to keep them going. I can see it, business jumping up. It has done over the past week, so people want to drink more now that they're coming out of January. People are jumping on non-alcs. Lots of more breweries are producing non-alcoholic beers. It's definitely not a trend anymore. It's something that's a staple in every bar.
And now all that's left to do is celebrate a successful Dry January. Cheers.
Now, with the recent storms and crazy weather across the north, we go to Tina Perusa, who is braving the cold in the Quays.
Yes, so after a difficult few weeks battling the storms, the weather forecast is looking a lot less brutal. This afternoon we will see a slight breeze picking up but getting stronger into the evening, but the clouds will be thickening up from the west tonight, meaning there will be outbreaks of rain going into the early hours of the morning, with lows of 6 degrees. Tomorrow is looking cloudier and the sky will be looking grey as periods of rain and drizzle will sprinkle across Greater Manchester, making it a soggy start to the weekend, but it will feel a lot warmer as it will be 13 degrees. Over the weekend it will stay mild, but there will be multiple outbreaks of rain and it will still feel breezy. So if you're taking part in Manchester's outdoor merge escape game, make sure you take your umbrella with you to catch those baddies. But if you wake up to find red droplets of water on your car, no need to panic, as a dust plume of sand will be created from the Sahara Desert and will travel thousands of miles to hit the UK next week. So hold off doing your weekend chore of getting the car washed, as it certainly will go wasted. Tina Perusa, Salford Quays.
That's all we have time for on today's show. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.